Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ruin Snow. Today we'll be doing Magic the Gathering Top 10 Farms. So now at number 10, we'll start off with Farmstead Gleaner from Modern Horizons or Mystery Booster. It's an uncommon going for 12 cents on the market. Well, it costs 3 colors for a 2/2. It doesn't untap during your untap step. Well, that's the reason why it's at number 10. It's kind of a garbage card. I'm surprised this is even an uncommon. So let's just straight up move on to number 9. We have is Stoic Farmer from Kaldheim Commander. It's a rare going for 21 cents for this 4 mana 3/3. It says when it enters the battle, search your library for a basic plains card and reveal. And if opponent controls more lands than you, put it on the battlefield, tap, otherwise put it in your hand. So that's actually a really cool ability. I do like that, especially with 4 mana. So if you need to go first, you get that free land into play, theoretically. And then the next turn, you can get that one other land into play, helping you further your game. So let's move on to number 8. Then we got nothing too fancy. We have Tinder Farm from Invasion. It's a common going for 20 cents on the market. It does come into play tapped and add a forest or sacrifice it to add that extra 2 mana, which I believe can make a difference in the game if you're that desperate to get that 2 mana right away. So let's move on to number 7. And next we have is Diligent Farmer from Odyssey. It's a common going for 38 cents on the market. I actually love this card when it first came out in Odyssey. Basically it says, search your library for a basic land card, put it in the card plate tapped, then shuffle your library. If it's in your graveyard and Muscle Burst effect, count it as Muscle Burst. So that's another card which we won't get into this game, but this is the reason why it's at number 7. So let's move on to number 6. And we have is Farmstead from various sets. It's a rare, going with an average price of $18 to $99, depending on the set from old school, basically. And it is on the reserve list. Why? Because I have no idea. Costs 3 white mana. Target's land controller gains 1 life if 2 planes is spent during its controller's upkeep. You cannot gain more than 1 life each turn through this enchantment. So I don't know why it's on the reserve list. It's not exactly the best card in the world, but it is a very cool picture by Mark Poole. So let's move on to number 5. And halfway down our list is Ambitious Farmhand from Innistrad Midnight Hunt, or the double feature, with it being uncommon with an average price of 26 from the original or 86 for the double. Costs 1 white, 1 colors for this 1/1. And when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic plains card and reveal it. That's the only basically reason for this card to exist, because transforming farmhand activate if you control 3 or more power creatures. I don't really care about that, especially when we're considering we're talking about the top 10 farm. So let's move on to number 4. Next on our list is Irrigated Farmland from various sets. It's a rare going for 29 cents on the right. I really like this picture. It comes into play tapped, but you have that ability to add a plains or an island, and it does say land dash plains island, which I think does make a huge difference for this type of card. So let's move on to number 3. Now we have is Elvish Farmer from Fallen Empires. It's a rare going for 5.44 on the market. And guess what? This one's on the reverse list too. So they got 2 cards on the reserved list. Who would have thought? So this costs 1 color, send a forest for a 0/2. It says during your upkeep, put a spore counter, which is a kind of a thing that Fallen Empires had. Remove 3 spore counters from the farmer to put a sapling into play. Treat this token as a 1/1 green creature. Sacrifice a sapling to gain 2 life, which in the future you've seen all these cards with saplings. So this is a very, very powerful card, as it is not even legendary, which didn't really exist back in the day. So let's just move on to number 2. Next is Overgrown Farmland from various sets. It's a rare going for $3.78. There's nothing too fancy about it. Just says enter the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands, and it adds a forest or plains. Pretty cool. So let's move on to number 1. And well, we got Remote Farm from Mercadian Mass. It's a common, and it's 34 cents. Comes into play tapped with 2 depletion counters on it. Remove a depletion counter from the farm, add 2 white mana to your mana pool. If there are no depletion counters on it, sacrifice it. I don't care what anyone says. This is one of my favorite cards in all of Magic, and I think it's very underpowered. Just putting that out, And then another land. You can have 3 mana, second turn. I think this is an amazing card, even in the real Magic world. I love this card. I love it a lot. But and in other videos, you see me just constantly talk about this card. I love it. So anyway, there's the top 10 farm, and I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening.